Today, we are going to be going over our playoff predictions for the 2024 NFL playoffs. Before we get into this video, if you enjoy, leave a like, hit the subscribe button, and comment down below your opinions and your Super Bowl prediction and winner as well. But without further ado, let's get into our playoff predictions. So the first game we have is the Chargers versus the Texans. Chargers overall this season have been a very consistent, good team with a good offense to really good offense and an elite defense. Their defense had that stretch, but I think they figured it out since then and have gotten back on track to what they were doing through most of the season. And the Texans, on the other hand, have been a very up and down team. Stroud's had an up and down second year. The receiver core has dealt with so many injuries with Dell, Diggs, and Collins when they only have Collins left. They did acquire Deontay Johnson, so we'll see if he can make an impact. And their defense has been very good. And again, their offense sort of up and down. Stroud, his first playoff appearance, he got a win against the Browns last year and then lost to the Ravens the next year. And Herbert, his first playoff game, didn't go very well as they blew that big lead to the Jags, but the coaching is a lot better. And the team is better anyway. So both quarterbacks with different playoff journeys up till now. So because I think it's about the quarterback. Like, which quarterback do you trust more? I think they're very similar. Like, I wouldn't trust Herbert a lot more than Stroud. So I think it comes down to the other factors. I trust Harbaugh more than DeMeco Ryans as a coach. I like the Chargers defense more than the Texans. And I just think that I know Mixon's great, but I think the Chargers, they like to run the ball. That's their mindset. I know the Texans have their run game as well. But the Chargers' rushing offense has been very good this year. So has the Texans, and again, I think it comes down to the defenses. I trust the Chargers defense, and I also trust their coaching more. I'm going with the Chargers to beat the Texans, and they've just been more consistent this season than the Texans have. So the Chargers will be advancing to the divisional round. Next matchup is the Steelers versus the Ravens. Last time these teams played, Steelers got a huge win Ravens got the big win, and the first time was a close win in the favor of Pittsburgh. But I think Pittsburgh is trending in the downwards direction. Their offense has not looked the same in these last month or so, and the Ravens are trending up as the main downfall of their team was their secondary. That has played better as well. So their weakness has gotten better. Everything else is still playing great. Lamar's playing the best he's played all year recently. I think the Ravens just have a little bit more going for them based on the last month or so than the Steelers. And for that reason, I'm going with the Ravens to beat the Steelers to advance to the divisional. Last AFC wildcard game is the Bills and Broncos. Broncos, with Bo Nix, have played very well, have exceeded my expectations that I had for them. And of course, their defense is still playing great. So I do think that defense can somewhat contain the elite offense, the elite Josh Allen led offense in the Bills. And I don't know if the Bills defense can contain Bo Nix because their defense hasn't looked great. But when it comes to the quarterbacks, and not only the quarterbacks but the run game as well, I trust Josh Allen and James Cook to sort of contain the tempo of this game and to not give Bo Nix as many opportunities as he may want to score on the Bills defense. And I just think the time of possession, maybe even the turnovers will go into the Bills' favor. And I think the Bills can just edge out the Broncos just enough and advance to the divisional round. Now flipping over to the NFC, the first game is the Eagles and Packers. These teams played earlier in Brazil, week 1 actually, but that's week 1. A lot has changed from week 1 to now the playoffs. Packers, I think Jordan Love is going to play, considering the fact that he potentially, I believe, could have came back in the game versus the Bears. If Jordan Love doesn't play, I don't even think this is close. I think the Eagles pretty easily win this game, but I'll just say that Jordan Love is playing. So I do think it'll be a good, close game. I think it could be a high. I know both defenses are good, but both offenses are even better. So I think it could be a high-scoring game. I do like the Eagles. The Eagles' defense is better than the Packers, so I do think that will give them the edge in this one. And then I think Saquon can just have himself a great day. And I just think that the Packers won't have the opportunity enough, somewhat like the Broncos. I don't think the Packers will have the opportunities that they may want because I think the Eagles could control this game a lot of the time. So I'm going Eagles beating the Packers to advance to the divisional. Next wild card game is the Commanders versus Bucks. Buccaneers playing good football, but they did not have their best game against the Saints team without Derek Carr, led by Spencer Rattler. They didn't even have Alvin Kamara or Taysom Hill either. So not I know they won, but it wasn't the best game out of Tampa Bay. And the Commanders are playing their best football. They've won, I believe, 5 in a row. They're scoring. Their offense is on fire right now. And their defense, with how well their offense is playing, they can score against this Bucks secondary. I'm confident Jayden Daniels and this Commanders offense can score 30 points. Now, can they stop Baker from scoring 30 points? I think they can because their secondary and their pass defense as a whole has been very good this year. Their run defense, not so much, but their pass defense has been great. I think they can contain Baker enough, and I actually think that Jayden Daniels can go into Tampa and pull off the upset, and I have the Commanders beating the Bucks to play the Lions in the NFC divisional round. Last wild card game is the Vikings and Rams. Rams coming off of a rest. Their offense, their whole team got rest. Stafford, Kyron, all of them. They got their rest in. Vikings, I know it was against the Lions, one of the better teams in the league, but the Vikings did not look great last week. Their offense struggled to execute in the red zone against a Lions defense that hadn't been playing its best recently. I know they're getting healthier. They got Anzalone that game, so maybe he made a difference. Or he did make a difference. Amik Robertson had a great game as well. But overall, that Lions defense wasn't playing its best due to its injuries. And the Vikings, I believe, put up 9 points. So going into this game, it's not a good look for that Vikings offense. And that defense didn't even have its best game. And I love Stafford and this offense in the playoffs. Last year in the playoffs, they almost beat the Lions. Now they get a Vikings team coming off of a tough Week 18 game. I think Stafford and that offense can be effective enough against this Vikings defense. And Sam Darnold, first time in the playoffs, his most recent big time game against the Lions in Week 18 did not look great. Maybe the lights were too bright for Sam Darnold. I trust Stafford in the playoffs a lot more than I trust Sam Darnold. So I'm actually going with the Vikings to upset the favored 14-win Vikings. Now I might have already accidentally spoiled it, but for the first divisional game I have Chargers-Chiefs. I'm going with the Chiefs in this one. I just trust Mahomes in the playoffs. I don't know how you can't trust Mahomes in the playoffs. It's a hard matchup for anyone. Divisional game, I know it's hard to beat a team 3 times in a year, which the Chiefs would do in this scenario. But they're getting healthy at the right time. They're going to be off 3 weeks of rest. They're playing their best football as of recently. And I just think they're just going to have the edge over the Chargers. I think it'll be a close game. Mahomes is going to have to make a game-winning, game-tying drive. And whether some questionable calls get called or not, I think the Chiefs come up and beat the Chargers. Now, to flip side, with the other 1 seed in the NFC, the Lions versus the Commanders. Great story with Jayden Daniels making it to the divisional round as a rookie, leading this Commanders team. However, I think maybe a lack of an experience with Jayden Daniels coming into a hostile environment versus the Lions, who now do have playoff experience. They did it before, but now they do. I think the Lions defense not only got healthier against the Vikings, but they could be getting even healthier. Their team as a whole could get even healthier. David Montgomery could come back versus this game, and more players, mainly on the defense, could come back. And if their defense could play anything like they did against the Vikings, I think that the Lions could relatively easily win this game versus the Commanders. But I would not be surprised if the Commanders make this a close game. However, I am going to go with the Lions to defeat the Commanders and advance to their second straight NFC Championship. Back to the AFC. The game of this round is the Ravens versus the Bills. Last time these teams played, Ravens beat the Bills pretty easily. Both teams with electric offenses and okay defenses. However, I think the Ravens offense are playing their best football recently and playing better than the Bills. And I think the Ravens defense is playing better recently and playing better than the Bills. And I just think based on what we've seen the last month or so, I think the Ravens have the slight edge over the Bills. And I have the Ravens advancing to the AFC Championship to take on the Chiefs. And on the other side, with the Rams and Eagles in the NFC, the Eagles are just one of the better teams in the league as a whole. I like the Rams, but I just don't know if they have enough to beat the Eagles, because they went against the Vikings defense, who has played incredible, but didn't have their best game against the Lions. The Eagles defense has been good all year long. So is the Vikings, but the Eagles defense is another great defense. However, you're not going against Sam Darnold when it comes to the other side of the ball. You're going against Jalen Hurts, A.J. Brown, Devonta Smith, Saquon Barkley. And I think the Eagles' offense will just be too much for the Rams' defense, because it's not Sam Darnold, it's Jalen Hurts. I'm going with the Eagles to advance to the NFC Championship. Now, the first championship game we'll go over is Chiefs-Ravens. These teams faced off last year in the AFC Championship with the Chiefs getting a win. I know the Ravens secondary has been improved recently, but it's not like they've turned around and became one of the best pass defenses in the league, one of the best secondaries in the league. They're still below average. So I do think this healthy Chiefs offense can attack that Ravens defense. And the Ravens aren't going against Pittsburgh. They're not going against that Bills defense. They're going against the Chiefs defense, which especially on the ground, which is what they're going to need to do. They're going to need to limit Lamar and Derrick Henry on the ground. And you got to make Lamar pass. I know he is one of the best passing quarterbacks this season. He's thrown 40-plus touchdowns to 4 picks. But you don't want Derrick Henry to get it going. You don't want Lamar to get it going on the ground. And I think they can stop the Ravens' run game enough. And you can't go against Mahomes in the playoffs, whether it's him, whether you want to say it's the refs. You can't go against the Chiefs in the playoffs. So I'm going the Chiefs to make it to yet another Super Bowl and win the AFC. On the NFC side, Lions, Eagles, great game. Elite offense versus elite defense when it comes to the Lions offense and the Eagles defense. And then good Lions defense to potentially really good, depends on the health, versus a very good Eagles offense. This was a tough game to pick. If there's one team that I think can knock the Lions out, it is the Eagles, and now they have their chance. But I just think it's destiny, to be honest, for the Lions to make the Super Bowl. The Lions can't do all of this, win 15 games, and not make the Super Bowl. I think it is just destiny that they make the Super Bowl. Everything's going their way. They're playing great football. Jared Goff is playing smart and great football. He's just making the right decisions. Rarely is making mistakes. And then their skill players, Gibbs and Montgomery and Brown and Jameson Williams, are making the plays. If their defense can continue to play like they did against the Vikings, continues to get healthier, I think they can contain this Eagles offense. And I'm going with the Lions to make it to the Super Bowl. I know it's both 1 seeds, but my Super Bowl is Chiefs-Lions. Now, who do I think will win the Super Bowl? The Chiefs, back-to-back Super Bowl champs going into this game. And the Lions, first time ever making it to the Super Bowl. Not Jared Goff's first time, but a lot of the players' first time making it to the Super Bowl. Like Amon-Ra's and the Gibbs and the Montgomerys. It's their first time. And it's not the Chiefs. It's Dan Campbell's, it's Ben Johnson's first time. So, now, scheming against Sam Darnold is not the same as scheming against Patrick Mahomes. Especially a Patrick Mahomes-led offense that is getting healthy at the right time, playing good football at the right time. And maybe I'm making this pick so it doesn't happen, but I unfortunately am picking the Chiefs to win the Super Bowl. I don't want to. I don't want the Chiefs to win. I want a different team to win. But I unfortunately am going to pick the Chiefs to win their third straight Super Bowl. Maybe this is me trying to jinx the Chiefs, but I think everyone doesn't want the Chiefs to win. But I think you can't deny Mahomes in the playoffs. If the Lions play any other team in the AFC, I would pick the Lions because none of these other teams have Super Bowl experience because Mahomes keeps making it to the Super Bowl. But I just think you can't deny the Chiefs team experience when it comes to the Super Bowl. They've made it the last 2 years. They've won it the last 2 years, and their team is basically the same. So I think the experience is going to take them over the edge in this matchup, and I have the Chiefs winning their third straight Super Bowl. That will do it for our playoff predictions for the 2024 NFL playoffs. Let me know your Super Bowl matchup and winner. And if you enjoyed, leave a like, also subscribe, turn the notification bell on, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.